Every time a new conflict begins, the same question starts circulating online. Is the military draft coming back? Recently, with rising tensions in the Middle East, that question has been appearing again across social media. But the reality is much less dramatic than people think. The United States could legally bring back the draft, but the odds of it actually happening are extremely low. To understand why, it helps to look at the history of the draft, why it ended, and how the U.S. military works today. The United States has used a draft several times in its history. The first national draft happened during the Civil War in 1863, when both the Union and the Confederacy needed large numbers of soldiers quickly. Later drafts appeared during World War I and World War II, when millions of Americans were conscripted into military service. But the draft became most controversial during the Vietnam War. Young men were required to register with the government, and many were selected through a lottery system and sent to fight overseas. This led to widespread protests across the country. By the early 1970s, public opposition to the draft had become overwhelming. In 1973, the United States ended the draft and transitioned to what we have today, an all-volunteer military. Even though the draft ended, the system behind it was never completely eliminated. Today, most American men between 18 and 25 are still required to register with something called the Selective Service system. This database exists so that, if Congress and the President ever decided a draft was necessary, the government could restart it quickly. But registration alone does not mean a draft is imminent. It simply keeps the administrative framework available, just in case the country faced a truly massive war. And that kind of scenario is very different from the conflicts the U.S. fights today. There are several reasons the United States is extremely unlikely to bring back the draft. 1. Modern wars require specialists. Modern militaries rely far less on massive infantry armies and far more on technology and trained professionals. Cyber warfare, drones, advanced aircraft, intelligence systems, and precision weapons all require highly trained personnel. Training millions of short-term conscripts would actually make the military less efficient, not more. 2. The volunteer military is working. Today's U.S. military is one of the most capable and technologically advanced forces in the world. Despite occasional recruiting challenges, the volunteer model has generally produced a professional and experienced force. From the military's perspective, volunteers are typically more motivated and easier to train than conscripts, so there's little institutional desire to return to a draft. 3. Political cost would be enormous. Reinstating the draft would require an act of Congress and approval from the president, and politically, it would be extremely unpopular. The Vietnam War showed how controversial conscription can become. No modern administration wants to trigger that kind of backlash unless the country is facing an existential threat. 4. The U.S. avoids mass mobilization today. The last time the United States needed a massive draft was during World War II, when millions of soldiers were required to fight large conventional wars across multiple continents. Modern conflicts are typically smaller and more specialized. Even the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were fought entirely with volunteers. So could the United States bring back the draft? Technically, yes. The legal structure still exists, and millions of people are still registered with the Selective Service. But in practice, the conditions that would require a draft would have to be extraordinary, something on the scale of a global war between major powers. For the kinds of conflicts the U.S. is involved in today, the volunteer military is far more practical. Which means that despite the rumors that appear every time a new conflict begins, the chances of the draft returning anytime soon are extremely low. This is worth knowing. Follow for more insight on how today's world actually works and why it matters.